5 Steps to Create Captivating Content That Stands Out Online, hosted by me, Alexandra Figueredo. So let's get started. My intention today is to cover the 5 steps to creating captivating content, strategies to increase your visibility and reach, shifts for building your confidence to gain more visibility, what I have coming up, and my contact information. And then at the end, I'll leave a little time for anybody who has any questions. About me, I'm a brand and visibility coach who helps passionate entrepreneurs, influencers, public figures who resist visibility in sales to be seen and heard, grow their business, and make a bigger impact. Many of you know me as this girl, right? Like the dancing lady, the dancing queen. I like to have fun in my reels and in my events. I just love to dance and have fun. And yet this is how I've been a performer, an artist since I was a baby. Here's a photo of me. I've been a journalist since high school. I was a blogger for 15 years. I continue to blog. And I'm a self-published author for 10 years. So I have all the makings of somebody who is really ready to get my message out to the world, right? Some of the publications I worked for had reached tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. I'll share some things I've done recently over the last few years where I've reached even millions of people. So, all the makings of getting out there and being a force in the world. And yet I felt like this little girl. I felt like, just letting somebody in. I felt like this little girl. And who can relate? Who can relate when you think about getting themselves out there, getting their message out to the world, putting themselves out there, stepping into the spotlight? Who feels like this? Because I felt like this most of my life. So it's completely, I found, not normal, but it's very common, especially with us female entrepreneurs, to feel, a little scared about stepping into the spotlight. So since then, when I started off in my career, I was in banking. And when I finally decided that I was going to resign from the corporate world and step into my own business, I was co-founding an online startup with my sisters. Despite all the fear I had, despite the decades of debilitating fear of being, of putting myself out there, of pitching myself in my business, I knew I needed to do it. And so I went on a healing journey of figuring out what tools worked, how to really shine, how to begin to put myself out there. And because I was in the communication space, I put myself out there. Since resigning and starting my own business, I've been seen in New York Times, Business Insider, Natural Awakenings, Career Builder, CBS News, the Miami Herald, and I'm not really sure how many because I've lost count, but well over 100 podcasts, web programs, digital media. And I recently started my own TV show on YouTube. So I'm starting to put out content on that. I also had my own podcast. I'm not sure if I mentioned that before. Also had my own podcast. So many places that not only I'm being featured, but I'm featuring other people as well. So I'm part of this media, right? I'm part of the digital media too. So I've been interviewed and I've put myself out there doing different TV shows. And I was a publicist for Samsung and got to meet lots of celebrities, both with Samsung and with other clients that I worked with that, met people all over the world, got to travel. And even though I had that fear of speaking, I still put myself in positions of speaking in groups. And now I do it mostly online, but I've still had fear of speaking online as well. And over the last couple of years, I've really put myself out there, really stretched myself. And now I'm the author of 2 Amazon bestselling books, contributor for numerous publications, a Happy for No Reason trainer with Marcy Shimoff, who's from The Secret. And I've hosted my own summit featuring not only Marcy, but other New York Times bestselling authors, a dance instructor, and I started my own cause called the Abundance Cause. And hopefully I'm going to be developing that over the next year. I'm very excited about that. I actually developed that a few years ago and brought it back during the pandemic. So I'm excited to continue to create a movement, a movement in abundance. Okay, so first thing is probably the thing the biggest takeaway that might help you to really start to shift the way that you think about content. So the first thing is that you are a professional content creator, or you can just call yourself a creator, as some social media platforms call you a creator. If you create any form of content, you are a creator. So that means, what does that mean? That means that basically it's your job. It is your job to create content. It is part of your business. It is part of your job. It's part of your profession to create content. And you can look at it, and that's why it's so important to take it seriously. This is part of your job. You're a professional publisher, right? You're publishing information. If you have a blog, that's a great place, and if you have your own TV show or a podcast, like, you are a publisher. A storyteller, right? Part of what we did, like, I just shared my story, and I'm always finding ways to share my story whenever possible. And you're a professional micro-influencer. And I didn't say influencer because typically influencers have, anywhere from tens of thousands to millions of followers. And most of us aren't there yet. But interestingly, micro-influencers can be more influential because typically more of their audience is engaged. And so if you think of yourself as a micro-influencer, you can get brand sponsorships, right? But even if you don't get brand sponsorships or paid collaborations or paid partnerships, if you see yourself as a micro-influencer, then your content matters. This is all part of your new identity from now on. And so I know a lot of you are feeling like this, right? And myself included, when we think about, oh my God, creating content, what do I gotta do? How much information do I have to put out there? What is my responsibility? I know a lot of people feel like this. So what I want to do for the next, let's see what time it is. For the next 40, 50 minutes is give you my blueprint for how to create content that's captivating, that engages your audience, and even gets a lot more reach and maybe even goes viral. So I'm going to help you to remove the chaos of creating captivating content. Okay, so step one is to start with your why, your passion, and your purpose. So your why is part of your story, and your story is part of your why. Interestingly, my original quote for this said, your mission is part of your story, and your story is part of your mission. I see that there's a lot of times there's not much difference between your mission and your why. I feel like it's all blending. And because all of it usually comes from some deeper levels that you may or may not have considered before. So when we think about our why or your purpose or your mission, a lot of these, again, start to blend together. You want to look at that deeper mission, that deeper meaning behind, what it is that you do and why. Your passion can be part of your why. Your innate talents and gifts. And I'm not just talking about, the stuff that you get paid for. Although, yes, those can be part of your why, greater why. I'm talking about like your superpowers, right? We're going to talk more about your unique ability later. But your story is also so inherent as apparently part of you and your why. So especially when it comes to what you've overcome and how you can now serve others through your own journey. And so for me, why do I do what I do? And begin to think about why you do what you do. So for me, I want to have a family. I'm still single, but I am in the process of, I'm really in December, my focus is gonna be on going out more and growing my family, attracting my love partner, because I want to have a family and I want to be there for my family and I want to have the freedom to spend time. I want time freedom to do what I want to do with my family. I also love to travel. And so I really want to have freedom to travel and go wherever I want and not have to worry, about money or about time. And then lastly, it's super important to me to be able to serve in a bigger way. I want to have the freedom to do what I do best and to serve as many people as I can. And so for me, it's about freedom. And even on top of that, it's fun, right? Especially when it comes to having that freedom allows me to have fun with my family, fun traveling, and fun serving. And then of course, being of service. So these are my big part of my big why. And then I've taken that into account with how and why I serve people. And so the first step is to really connect with your greater why, passion, and purpose. And always have that front and center. Because that alone, especially if you're tied to your passion, that alone is captivating and magnetic. So, for all of you who are here, what is one thing that when you think about your greater why, or maybe something you're so passionate about that you just love to do, that doesn't feel like work, but you know that when you do this, you light up and so many people are served? What is that for you? Or maybe why you do what you do, right? Maybe it's the freedom that we talked about. So for you, what is your big why or your big greater mission and passion? I know for many of my clients, the time for moms, the time freedom is huge, is so huge because they want to spend more time with their kids. And for most of the entrepreneurs that I work with, financial freedom is a big one. And for some people who really aren't passionate about, I mentioned I was in banking before. For me, moving away from something that I wasn't passionate about into doing something I am passionate about, where I could serve more people, that was so liberating. That was freedom, like the freedom to do what I love, right? So between time freedom, financial freedom, and freedom to do what you love and what you're great at, all of those are not only part of me, but a lot of my clients as well. Alrighty, so let's go to step number 2. And step number 2 is to define your, I just wanted to read this. Kelly says, education and learning are so important to life success, and I simply hate to see people who waste energy and money on courses that do not change their behavior, action, or performance. Yes. Yeah. As they say, shelf help. Did I say that correct? Shelf help? Yeah. Yeah, that's why actually, and it's funny that you bring that up because I actually I prefer doing live over just like pre-recorded courses, because I feel like when things are live, you really get more of that transformation. So, but I'm a coach, so I really believe in the transformation. So that's an excellent point. Okay, so the step number 2 is to define your audience. And oh, we have a couple more comments here. It's, I love seeing others light up, be uplifted and empowered. Yes, yes, you're of service. You're a person of service. Okay, so step number 2, define your audience, define your niche. And there's this quote, it's unknown, I'm not sure who says it, but it's the riches are in the niches, or the niches, as some people say. So your audience is the best way, and this is something that I have been teaching for a long time, and it really hit home this year. Because once I started to really niche down, really start to clarify, be clear, is when my business started to go like skyrocket. And there's still things, I mean, I'm still creating programs and doing all these things, but it was really at the point when I let go of trying to be everything for everyone and be specific and clear, that things really started to get dialed in. So be specific and clear. The more you are specific and clear, the more relatable you'll be to your audience, to your clients, to your niche. You want your clients, you want your niche to think, this is for me. She knows, she gets it. She gets me. She understands me. Specific is usually more lucrative than general. There are some exceptions, but a lot of times the people who now are general, making a lot of money from general, it's because they were specific, right? They were really specific. As an example, actors who have multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar, or celebrities, right, that have these multi-million-dollar or billion-dollar businesses, it's because they were an actor or they were something else super specific before, became really well known for that, and then leverage that to create other businesses or do other things, make money doing other things. But they weren't known for a business person, usually, with some exceptions, right? But again, usually there's a specific thing that people become known for or they become wealthy in before they branch out or before they start to do other things. And here's the thing, you're not married to one niche or one audience. So my advice is to pick the group that resonates with you the best right now, lean into it, and really dial that in. And a quick example for me, I at one point was saying I worked with mission-driven entrepreneurs, and that's fine. But when I realized that like 99% of my clients were, or maybe not 99, but 90% of my clients were women, I didn't want to let go of the men. So I'm like, but I work with men. Guess what? Now I say I work mostly with women. All of my marketing is centered around women, and I still attract men. So it's not like they weren't left out. It's just that now I attract more conscious men, which are probably the people I most want to work with anyways. So here's a quick example of how we can dial in and how this is relatable to what you do. So have you ever heard the statement that people say, oh, you're a coach? It's, oh my God, everyone's a life coach or everyone's a coach these days, right? So general. But if let's say you're a financial coach might be more in demand if you know that you need help with money, or maybe you know you need help with money. And so you're not going to look for a life coach. You could, but typically, if you know that you need help in a specific area, you go looking for somebody who can help in a specific area. So a financial coach is more specific. But what if it's not just about money, but what if you need to eliminate your debt? Maybe you're close to bankruptcy, or you have $100,000 in credit card debt, right? Then how about going to a coach, an eliminate debt coach? I don't even know if that's a thing, but I just made it a thing. Or a coach, it could be a financial coach that specializes in eliminating debt. So if that's what my specific need, then imagine, like, if you're a financial coach, how it's more specific, but it's still pretty broad. Whereas eliminating debt is ultra specific. And so you might think, okay, but I'm going to lose all of these other people's. Guess what? You can still work with people who have other needs. But the specific need, the specific niche is people are going to remember you when they need to eliminate their debt. And so each person, each client has a transformational journey, and it's based on their pain points and their goals and desires. So what they're going through right now and what their desires are. So I suggest that you stick to 1 or 2 steps to keep it ultra specific. So you have here on the left, it says your current pains and challenges for your client. And then if you can keep it to this first step, their first success milestone, like what is the goal that they want or the thing that they want to overcome? And then you could take it to step number 2 and get maybe the second success milestone. But I wouldn't recommend that you focus your marketing or your branding or your business on at least how you message it, how you vocalize it, to more than 1 or 2 steps, because then you start getting way too broad. So I want you to stick to having a primary niche and a secondary, or a first or a step number 1 and a step number 2. And that way we keep it really tight. So back to the example of the debt, right? Maybe their first step, like because all they want to do is get out of debt, they're not thinking about investing, right? So a financial coach that wants to help them invest when they don't really even have enough money coming in isn't going to help them right now. That's like later. That's like step 3 or 4. Right now, we need to, help you with your budget, your expense, your income, what's coming in and what's going out. And then step number 2 might be talking to different companies, debtors and, different banks, and trying to see if they can refinance. I don't know exactly what that could be, but what I'm trying to get at is keep it tight. Keep it really in a short, keep it tight so that you can really help to focus on your clients. But you know what? Like for me, I'm going to go to the next step. I actually help people in the 3rd success milestone, even though I don't publicize that. So my clients currently, most of them have some form or have had some form of imposter syndrome, and they want more visibility and they want to stand out. But their first step for many of them is creating a strategy for their brand and visibility. Then the next step is growing their business to $100,000. But if I actually do have a client right now who is in the multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars. So she's going into multiple 6 figures. And we just started working together, but it's very possible that she could get to the 7 figures. So she's not in my first or second milestone, but she still has a lot of the same challenges. And so it's not that I can't help her, but it's just that most of my clients are in these first couple of milestones. Okay. So I want you to think about speaking their language so you can best communicate with them. We want to understand what they're going through so that we can best support them. So think about what are your audience's top 1 or 2 pain points and challenges, and their top 1 or 2 desires and goals. And what are their maybe if you just stick to these 2 points, you're going to get so much clarity. But if you can come up, there's something else that they need or that they want that's tied to how you serve them, think about that as well. So just take a moment and think about what is your audience's top pain point? What is their biggest challenge as it relates to your business, right? So for example, some of my clients might have financial issues, like let's say they can't pay their mortgage. I'm just making up something. Let's say they can't But I'm not helping them with their mortgage. I'm helping them with the business, grow their business so they can make more money so that they can pay their mortgage, right? So that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about how it relates to how you help them. So one of my clients' top pain points underneath the surface is self-judgment, being critical, right? Part of that imposter syndrome, not feeling like they're enough or they're worthy. And my clients want to grow their business to 6 figures and above and beyond, and want to grow their visibility on mostly social media, but it could be other ways as well. Because, for example, for me, speaking has been historically one of the ways that I've gotten the most income, most clients has been from speaking. And since speaking is not really that available nowadays, at least not in groups, in person, I've been pivoting to online, and many of you too. So what are your audience's biggest pain points? 1 or 2 biggest pain points and 1 or 2 biggest desires or goals? Okay, so we're going to go to the next step, and you feel free to keep writing in if this will help and serve all of us. So the next step is to develop your unique ability and brand identity. So this is your brand. This is how you stand out as a brand. Your unique ability is what sets you apart. So your brand identity is what you aspire to be. So it's really tied to your vision. And to set yourself apart, you must have unique ability. That's what makes you unique and different. But guess what? You already are unique and different. So we don't need to look for it. You already are unique. It's just a matter of finding it, identifying it, and then communicating it. And clearly and consistently communicating it. So branding is really the part that's oftentimes not really thought of is the consistency part of branding. Being consistent in your messaging. And that doesn't mean the same message on every platform. It means consistent and cohesive. So it doesn't, depending on the platform, you might need to tweak it slightly. But if somebody sees you on every platform, they're not going to be like, wait a second, why is she like this over here, but like this, but completely different over here? There's some form of cohesion between all the different brands or platforms where you're on. So your unique ability is what sets you apart. It differentiates you. It's where you have authority and expertise. It can even be called your superpower or your genius. We developed something, and I'm going to take it to the next level, Kelly, because I forgot about this other thing here. Because your vixen power, there's a 4th element. I'm going to share this in the next step. But there's a 4th element to it. What is your $1 million superpower? Like, on top of everything else, like what could somebody pay you $1 million for right now that you could provide some insane value? What are you best at in the world? This makes you most recognizable. Of course, your unique story alone, just because you have this unique story of what you've overcome and how to overcome it, or what you've gone through and how you've overcome it, that alone is so valuable. That alone is your unique ability. Ultimately, though, I want you to be authentically you. So when I'm helping people create a brand, and I was a brand strategist for many years, and I actually helped people create a brand from scratch, I always wanted to make sure, that's why the mission and the why is so important. Because when you're connected with your mission and your why, it is part of you. It is authentic to you. I never wanted to work with people that were just doing it for the money. And there's nothing wrong with just doing it for the money, but that's not the people I want to work with. That's not the people I attract. I attract people who have a why, or who think they do, or want to find it. And it's part of who they are. So, quick example here. Let's think about personal trainers. And you can apply this to you and your business too, okay? So at my gym, personal trainers are a dime a dozen, right? Super general, right? Kind of like the coach, right? Like there's like a dime, there's a million coaches. There's coaches, everyone's a coach. Personal trainers are like a dime a dozen. I live in Miami, so maybe there's more personal trainers here. But for those of you who live in big cities, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of personal trainers. But some trainers specialize in specific groups. For example, older women who want to lose weight, or maybe it's working with bodybuilders, right? Like people who work with bodybuilders. And at the same time, at least in my gym, there was this one trainer who would target brides who want to lose weight by their wedding day. Like they want to get fit in 30 days. And he would offer bridal boot camps. And those bridal boot camps were always in demand. So that's super ultra specific, because the bride who wants to lose weight or wants to get fit by her wedding day, who's at the gym, knew, I'm going to go to that guy, right? It's like a very specific problem, a very specific niche, and he sets himself apart by helping people by doing this, right? And so let's think about what a name could be. So so you can call yourself a personal trainer, or you can call yourself a weight loss trainer, which is a little more specific, or you can call yourself a fit bride trainer. And there's probably a better name for this, right? I just kind of came up with this quickly just to fit the example. But the trainer who works with brides, and like that's super, that guy is like, he is super unique, and he can charge more. He can charge more because it's a super specific, super unique. Not everybody does it. Not everybody specializes in it. So, okay, so think about it for your own business, right? And we don't have to come up with the answers now. I just want you to think about, especially when this is about creating content. And so this person, he can just create this fit bride trainer. If he just creates regular old content about personal training tips, is fine. And if he talks about weight loss, it's fine. Better, but it's fine. But if he talks about brides and what they're going through and the stress, and photos of women with their wedding dress in front of them, and talking, and really focuses his content on women and the bride, and all the stuff going on with, it's just so much more specific. It's so specific that person is set apart. Because again, personal trainers are a dime a dozen, right? Like when I see personal trainers, and here's the really cool part, guys or ladies. This person who's ultra specific, oftentimes the ultra specific person attracts people outside of their main audience, because they hit some pain point that resonates oftentimes with people outside of that audience. And those brides that go to this trainer still work with him after they've gotten married. So it's not like they go away. It's not like they work with him for 30 days and go away. A lot of them become clients for, 6 months to a year after that. I love the commentary in the chat. Thanks for supporting each other, ladies. All right, so step number 4, let's go into content. Let's go into creating content. Actually, I just wanted to make sure we anchor this. What was a takeaway from this section about your unique ability and ways to be like super specific and stand out in your industry? What was the takeaway for you? Right. Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, the $1,000,000 superpower. Yes, 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 yes. Nancy says, I'm niching more specifically now to work with successful realtors who have been in business for over 5 years and want to get their lives back. Right. So, Nancy, you're not gonna be working with the realtor who just started. You're more established, you're working with more established realtors. And maybe, income is already kind of like a determining factor for them. They've earned they have stable income, they've earned a certain number because they've been in the industry. They now are basically like practically referral only, Yeah. Stable, right, exactly. They already have stable income. Awesome. Great. Okay, so let's dive into the content section. Now that we've gotten our framework for, and Sharon says cohesive and consistent on all platforms. Yeah. So now that we have our foundation, and I always bring up steps 1 through 3 in every single strategy that I create for any client. Why? Because it doesn't matter what business or what platform or what marketing strategy you're going to use. If you keep in mind steps 1 to 3, so your why, your mission, start with your why, your mission, know and understand your audience, and create your unique brand identity. You can take that strategy for any business, any marketing plan, or anything. Like it's across all platforms. So, and especially since social media changes, there's always something new happening, right? That's why it's always so important for me. So I just wanted to make sure that I anchored that piece in, that you've got that out of the way. Now we can dive into creating content. Okay. So, what's really captivating? When you can authentically and passionately convey how you understand what your audience is going through and how to solve it. So here's my little graph, and I'm going to add something to it next time. This is what I was just talking about. So we start with our why, our mission, vision, passion, our target audience, pain points, and desires, which we talked about in step 2. Step 3 is your brand identity, your unique ability. And then we take this little middle section, and it's the captivating section. It's the vixen section. And for those of you who are new to my vixen language, that's that juicy middle. That's that captivating, that's that magnetic piece that when you put these pieces together, the overlap between what you're passionate about, what your audience needs help with, and your brand identity, what makes you unique, that little center is the juicy piece. And when you add to that a fourth circle, which is how you get paid, your $1 million mission, then you're unstoppable. Then you're really unstoppable, because you don't have to be a bargain. You don't have to be
You don't have to be a commodity. Vixens aren't commodities. And I've actually been learning this. I've been bumping up against this over the last month or so. So this is so important. Okay, so keeping that in mind, that vixen middle, that captivating middle, we want to remember our audience pain points, what your unique ability is, where are the overlaps, and is it in alignment with your why and your passion? Because we want to be energized by it, right? So if all we did was look at, forget about the top circle. If all we did was look at, your brand and your target audience, then you might not be super passionate about it, and you might not be excited about creating content. That's why we have to have the passion and the energy in there. Okay? Because remember, for me, everything has to be fun. I want to incorporate fun in there, and I want my clients to have fun too. So this section, we're going to talk about content categories. And we want to come up with categories of content that reflect those overlaps that we just talked about, those captivating content that middle ground. We want it to be in alignment with your client's transformational journey, like where they are now and where they're going. And this is important because it creates the most value for your audience and consistency for your brand. So basically, sticking to 6 content categories for your main content plan will give you a framework to organize your content, allows you to have a little bit of flexibility and wiggle room within this, this organized framework. So here are some examples. By no means is this the end all, right? There could be a lot of different categories. These happen to be the ones that are most relevant for a lot of service providers. So at the top, and a lot of times we forget, is educational tips. So these are like your 5 steps to, this could be like your hot educational tips. You want to give away information. You don't give it all away. You give little bits and pieces of information in chunk sized, in little bits, right? That's what you do on social media. Then there's the second one, is informational. So it's funny because I always use examples of real estate, and Nancy's a realtor, so I love this. So informational can be your trends, what's happening in the industry. It could be the general industry, or it could be specific to your audience, right? And then there's storytelling, talking about your clients, and it doesn't have to be just your clients. Telling stories could be like highlighting celebrities or other people that you know that have had similar experiences, right? Like beauty industry is a great one, where you see like let's say facials. A facialist can share photos of the person before they've had the facial and then after they've had the facial to see the differences. Or there's a lot of different examples, but think about like your before and afters. Then you've got the entertainment, and I always think I love to include entertainment. Inspirational, so your quotes, your videos, and your case studies. What's cool about case studies is that they act as testimonials, especially if it's somebody that's related to, something that you've done. So you can use a case study, a general case study that you didn't work on, or if it's a client case study, then that serves as a testimonial. Oh, and Nancy says, nope, not passionate about realtors, passionate about people living their ultimate best lives. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So, right. So you specifically are not going to be doing informational trends for the general part. You're going to be giving out other trends to the things that are relevant to the people that you're working with. Okay, so I'm going to go through this kind of quickly because I realize we are already about almost 48 minutes after the hour. But, for me, I give tips on branding, on visibility, I do a lot on imposter syndrome and mindset. I do inspirational quotes. Usually they're my own, but sometimes they're other people's. I do a lot of transformational journey. And I do give case studies. It's not, so the last two I do the least of, but they're in my content plan because if I don't have it in my content plan, I will forget it. So this is the reason why this is important is because we want to get organized. Because if it's not a part of our plan, it's very easy to forget. And before I did this exercise, by the way, I would say about 90% of my content was number 4. Inspirational and motivational quotes. I wasn't even using my Instagram or basically practically any of my social media for business. I was just posting motivational quotes. But it's very important to me because I love motivation and we need motivation. But now I include tips on branding, visibility, and imposter syndrome. So I've become more specific and I still have quotes that I post, but I'm much more intentional. And I think that's the driving point that I want to tell. Exactly. More well-rounded content. Exactly. I mean, if you could create an Instagram account just about motivational quotes, certainly. But that's kind of a little boring. You want to mix it up a little bit, right? And by the way, some of those motivational quote accounts could have millions of followers. But we want to have well-rounded within a framework. So we want it to be relatable to your clients, to their pain points, and to your brand. So here's an example of an infographic, a testimonial. This is my visibility, a video that I did, a little dance, and one on imposter syndrome. So the ways that you turn each content category into engaging and captivating content, right? Because this is what this is about, is it's got to be relevant and relatable to your audience, which we've talked about a little bit already. We have to create an emotional experience, and we have to make it, well, not have to, but it's amazing if we can make it entertaining, then it will definitely increase the level of, how captivating, how magnetic, how engaged your audience is. And if you can have more than one of these, even better. Because if it's just entertaining, like if you're a coach and you just post a funny video about your dog, which I've done before, yeah, it could get a lot of likes, it could get a lot of engagement, but it doesn't, and I've actually done this. It actually hasn't been the most engaged post that I have, right? So you could do things, but if it can have overlaps on all of these, then it'll be most engaging to your audience. Okay, so I'm just going to run through these pretty quickly. And, we want to, in the relevant and relatable topics, we want to search for trending topics. Like today is Cyber Monday, super important. You can consider controversy, but the most important thing is that you find an angle or a story that's relatable to you and your audience. That's the most important part. So if we're talking about Cyber Monday, we want to say, okay, why is that relevant to your audience? As a business coach, people are doing lots of Cyber Monday offers. So that makes it relatable if I talk about Cyber Monday. And then if there's any type of trend, we want to make sure we catch it early. So this is a post that I made, a reel that I used a trending topic. I posted it on Thanksgiving and I turned it into something related to Thanksgiving, and it's gotten several thousand views. Okay, now strong emotional response, that's like your celebration, your joy, your inspiration, your anger, funny, humor, sad, touching. And we're going to talk more about this point later, so I'm running through it quickly. But your other emotional experiences could be like, let's have fun with it, right? So celebration, people want to celebrate with you, your milestones. your before and afters, as we talked about, your beauty and body transformation, client successes, any type of inspiration creates an emotional experience, hype. If you've won an award or you've written a best-selling book, like we want to celebrate with you. Like, let's create some hype. It's exciting. Anything that's touching, that's emotional, humor even, right? Like anything that creates that emotional experience. You could think about that as part of your content. And if you're new at content creation, I suggest you start with the milestones, celebration. Anything to that, holidays are great as well, especially now during the holidays. And then there's entertainment and not entertainment, and here I'm writing audio and movement. So music, just adding music. And by entertainment, I'm not talking about happy. So if you have a serious topic, and serious could be something like trauma, or serious could be something like getting out of debt, getting out of bankruptcy. Just by adding a song to to your post, it could be a video or whatever, just by adding some music, you can make it a little bit more relatable. You can lighten it up a little bit. And that alone can make your content more engaging. So use trending sounds and songs. You can even find audio that relates to your topic. And I love to dance and add movement within the first 3 seconds. We're going to talk more about this in the next section. So I'm going to skip through this part because we are going a little over time. But just remembering that you can create your content categories, your content pillars, however you want, but it's definitely the way to create that organized framework so that you have that, you know what to post within that framework, but you've got so much wiggle room, so much creativity that you can create within that. Okay. So let me just go to the next. This was a little brainstorm. And this is another fun part for a lot of you. So increasing your visibility and virality. So how to go viral. Reach more people and help more people and make a bigger impact. So just as an example, my reels on Instagram get 5 to 10 times more impressions than my regular posts. And 85% of those are from non-followers. So the key to going viral is to create highly relatable and shareable content with a fast hook. Why is that important? Because we've got a pitiful attention span. Average attention span as of 2020 is 8 seconds, and it is probably worse right now. So we have to evoke strong emotion quickly. So that's your surprise, your joy, your anger, your awe-worthy, funny, sad, touching, weird, disgusting even, okay? And suspenseful. So surprise and suspense are really great tools for going viral. And of course, puppies, dogs, animals are awe-worthy. That's why, I'm always sharing animal videos. Right? There's a reason why. It's because it's something, it's an emotion. It's a strong emotion, especially baby animals, right? There's just something, and babies too. Babies and animals doing funny things. Oh my God, right? Super viral. But you don't have to post about animals to go viral. You can just take the steps, take the things that we work on, and women can relate to babies and animals. Yes, it's true. So I post about my dog because he's part of my life and he's like my little assistant. He's looking at me right now. But, you make it relatable to you. So here are some examples of fast hooks. So remember where I said surprise and suspense? So this wait for it is suspense. That's like, hey, what's going to happen? Wait for it, right? That's one way of creating suspense or surprise. The second one is a video that I did, and I have this surprise or this look here. That's another way to create a fast hook. And these are videos, by the way, so I'm just showing you the stills, but just so you could get some context here. My reaction, right? There's something about this reaction that is like, hey, what's that? There's some type of intrigue there. And then lastly this is a transition from one slide to the next. It's like a blurred transition. That's the best I could capture in a still. But it's an added effect that creates movement at the beginning of my videos. And I always try to add those in. So Stacy is one of the participants in the challenge that I just held. And she posted her first reel on Thursday. She's got about 100 followers on Instagram. And she got over 3,000 views within 2 hours. And I thought, okay, well, maybe was that like a fluke or something, right? So she followed, we talked about, how to increase engagement and content on Instagram. And then I posted my first reel for my Visibility Vixens account. And I also got almost 3,200 views. Now, this is the same video I posted on my personal account, but it was but my Visibility Vixens account only has at the time, only had 20 followers. So some quick tips to go viral. So have the hook in the first 3 seconds. Use trending sounds and hashtags, popular keywords, relevant for you and your audience. That's really the key there. Is relevant for you and your audience. And like somebody said, babies and animals are relevant to women. So if you target women, right, even if it's not specific to your business, if there's something where you tie in women and babies or families or something like that, that could potentially go viral because women can emotionally connect with that. Add music and or movement and ask your audience to participate. Have them be part of it, right? I always add, I say, save or share or what's your favorite XYZ. I ask them questions so if they comment. I tell them to tag a friend. And engage on social media. If you want people to engage with your content, you need to engage with them. So spend a little bit of time before you post to engage on the platforms before you post. That's going to boost the algorithm. And just to end, stepping into the spotlight is not about you. It's about who and how you can serve those who are most in need of your message. What was your biggest takeaway? Let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to learn more about how to grow your visibility and monetize your brand, make sure to check out this video. For more help growing your visibility and monetizing your brand, go to alexanderfigueredo.com. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Thank you.